I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and it's time for another comic book review. Today I'm going to be talking about Nightwing 78, the debut of Tom Taylor on the series. Nightwing as a comic book has been maligned, much maligned since basically Dick Grayson was shot in the head and got amnesia in Batman 55 when Tom King was still on the title. I believe it was well over 2 years where I think it was it Ben Percy started out. They did not like what he wanted to do with Nightwing and his amnesia. He was shown the door. Scott Lobdell tried to come in and salvage it. He was not able to do that. He was given a new direction. I think, he went over and did Flash Forward. We got Dan Jurgens on the book, who I thought maybe had the best chance of salvaging it. He was not able to do it. It was a terrible, terrible undertaking. Obviously, we did get Dick Grayson back. He discovered his memories in the Joker War. One of the best things James Tynion has done since he took over the Batman line. And now we are getting a brand new Age of Nightwing with Bruno Redondo on art. Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo have worked together a lot in the past. This is a really, 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 really good comic book. Is it perfect? No, it's kind of close. It's like a 4.5-star comic. It's a highly recommend. There's a couple of things I don't like about it. For the most part, this is really good table setting. This is reestablishing the Nightwing universe. This is the new status quo. These are the new villains moving forward. These are the things that are changing in Dick Grayson's life. He also addresses the amnesia in a joke with the dog, which I think was effective. He also addresses the death of Alfred and the fact that there was no Dick Grayson. It was Ric Grayson at the time. So we get some closure between Dick Grayson and Alfred, which is fantastic. It changes his life. We'll get into all that. So this I highly recommend. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Now, before I get into the details about why this comic book is so good, I do want to say, if you like comic book reviews, news, debate, opinion, Thinking Critical YouTube is likely the channel for you. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this review. Thumbs down if you don't. Either way, I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comments section. Did you enjoy the new era of Nightwing in Infinite Frontier? Because I did. Now let's get right into it. The first thing that is established by Tom Taylor, we get a flashback to when Dick Grayson was a kid. It opens up, there's a kid being bullied. You think, is that Dick Grayson? It turns out it's not. It's just another kid being bullied by a rich kid. There is some cringe here. There's a couple of things I really don't like about this comic book. This is one of them. Shelton Lyle. Well, perfect teeth meet privilege. It's so annoying. Dick Grayson is essentially being raised as a billionaire at this point in his life. Who's more privileged than that? But this is also apparently the introduction of Barbara Gordon to Dick Grayson. They met as kids. There's a big fight going on. Shelton Lyle thinks he can get away with anything because his parents are rich. But it turns out he doesn't know that Babs' father is a police officer. They get into a fight. Dick Grayson can handle himself. He headbutts the rich kid. He knocks a couple of teeth out. In the end, they do start getting the best of him because there were 4 of them. They start beating him up a little bit. Not commissioner yet. It should be just Detective Gordon shows up. He doesn't get as much trouble as he anticipates, and he gets driven home to Wayne Manor. And thankfully to him, Bruce Wayne is not there. It is Alfred, and that is a big part of this story. Is the relationship between Dick Grayson and Alfred. We finally get that goodbye that we certainly didn't get during Tom King's Batman run. We get a wonderful introduction as to when they're kids. Dick Grayson is helping Alfred, do the dishes, and he's like, hey, I'm supposed to be doing that. It's like, if you want to help, you can dry the dishes. There's a nice moment where they're talking about him standing up to the bully, and this is what Alfred has to say to him. Master Bruce may feel you should only be a hero when wearing a costume, but I'm glad Dick Grayson steps up when someone is in need. It takes a different hero to help without a mask. Wonderful characterization as far as why Alfred would be so important to Dick Grayson. He was a different influence than Bruce Wayne. I think Batman likely had a lot of influence on how he became Nightwing and the way that he handles himself as a superhero. Alfred likely had a much bigger difference on how he handles himself as Dick Grayson, which is, I think, the reason that people like this character. He's a great superhero as Nightwing, but him as Dick Grayson, That he's the everyman. He's a character that a lot of people can relate to, and that's why, in my opinion, it sounds like Tom Taylor agrees with me. This should be one of the A-list characters of DC Comics. So Barbara Gordon comes and visits him, and she lets him know, hey, listen, in my status as Oracle, I am executing Alfred's will. We didn't read it with you because you weren't yourself, so I'm here to execute it now. And he listens to a video, obviously from Alfred. He finds out he is a billionaire, and at one point he says, why would a billionaire make me sandwiches and do my washing? And then Barbara says, for the same reason a billionaire would fight crime in Gotham, it's what he wanted to do. So we find out Alfred, when he became the caretaker of Bruce Wayne and the Wayne estate, is a billionaire. He was given a lot of bonds and whatnot as far as Wayne Enterprises. He was a very rich man. He had a lot of means, but he stayed with Bruce Wayne, stayed by his side to the end, and he helped him raise his sons. He also, there is a personal letter from Alfred to Dick Grayson where he explains, I write this every year. You never know what's going to happen. And he basically tells him what he means to him. And the very last line, I am very proud to call you my son. Wonderful moment, a tear brought to Dick Grayson's eye, and a tear brought to this reviewer's eye. This is what was missing from Tom King's execution of Alfred's death. Now, I don't totally blame that on Tom King. It sounds like he did not mean for Alfred's death to be permanent. It was supposed to be a ploy by Psycho Pirate, but the editorial staff afterwards were like, no, he's dead now. And he kind of had to roll with the punches, and it was not executed well. Obviously, James Tynion tried to do something similar. I don't think he was as effective as Tom Taylor was here. Just my opinion. This is the Alfred part. We've changed the status quo. Dick Grayson is now a billionaire. Another thing that has changed in Dick Grayson's life, he is now the proud owner of a dog. At the very beginning of this story, after we get the bully part, there's a three-legged dog. He's being chased down by some college jocks. It looks like they go to Bloodhaven College. And they're running him down, and they have the cruelty to kick a three-legged dog while he's down. Nightwing, being who he is, the character who he is not going to let a three-legged dog be beaten by some bullies. That's one of the big, kind of the big theme through here is Nightwing stands up to bullies, and it's going to play a big part into the end when we find out who the villains are. He confronts these guys. They have to know he's Nightwing. It's not like this is his first day in Bloodhaven, but for some reason, this college jock decides to pull out a gun, and he's going to blow this dog's head off in front of Nightwing. It does not go well for him. He dispatches of these guys. He doesn't murder them like I think a lot of people were hoping that he would. Nightwing maintained true to himself. He didn't kill anybody, but he did disable them. He goes to scoop up the dog. The dog bites him. He forgives the dog. He's like, well, I'm going to the doctor. You're going to the vet. And he gets them all hemmed up. And when Barbara Gordon sees this dog, she falls head over heels in love with her. And he tells her, I'm taking him to the pound, or taking her to the pound tomorrow. I don't own a dog. And she's like, the minute that dog came through the window, you became a proud dog owner. So I'm glad that the dog is going to stick around. I think this is a wonderful addition to the Nightwing family. A three-legged dog sounds good to me, and it falls in line with the character in the Dick Grayson that I know and love. Hopefully the money doesn't change. I think maybe that will be one of the big points of Tom Taylor's story, hopefully. So I have mentioned that there is one other moment in this comic book that I don't like, and I'm going to get to this before I get to the villains, which I think, was that the best? It's one of the better executed portions of the story. There's a moment when Dick Grayson gets to his apartment. He realizes someone's in his apartment. He goes to investigate. He comes to the window, and Barbara Gordon grabs him by the wrist and tosses him head over heels and on his ass. Dick Grayson is an exceptionally skilled hand-to-hand combatant. Obviously, so is Barbara Gordon. But he's also a circus performer. They could have at least let him, laying on his feet or something. This defines the hero down. Why make him look like a doofus? Yes, let him get overpowered because he wasn't expecting it. She got the leverage on it. But let's celebrate who Nightwing is and let him land on his feet or something. It just made him look like, Barbara Gordon could kick his ass. If you love Barbara Gordon, you love Batgirl and Oracle, and I do. She can't kick Dick Grayson's ass. I'm sorry. He's one of the best hand-to-hand combatants in the entire DC universe, as well as she is. But this defines the character down. It makes him look like a jabroni. in comparison to the supporting star in this book. And that's stupid. So I did not like that. This and that stupid bit about the privilege in the very opening with the bullies are the two portions of the story I really didn't like. Now let's get to the villains. Blockbuster has been a long time Batman and Robin nemesis. When it was Mark Desmond, I think it's his brother, Roland Desmond, ended up becoming the next Blockbuster. He's been more of a Nightwing villain, and that is the man behind the mayor in Bloodhaven. And he definitely has shades. It feels like we are getting a Wilson Fisk-like character here, which I think is perfect for Nightwing. Nightwing almost feels like the Daredevil of the DC comic. I know like people like to compare Daredevil and Batman. I feel like Nightwing and Daredevil are a much better comparison as far as their missions, how they conduct themselves, and their power sets. Nightwing isn't overwhelmed by technology in the same way that Daredevil isn't either. And they're both kind of acrobats, and they can traverse the city doing crazy stunts and things like that. So I think getting Blockbuster in here as the man that's kind of controlling the city, Roland Desmond, this is like a scene right out of Daredevil that you would get with Wilson Fisk. He picks up the mayor by his head and squishes it right in front of this city councilwoman. I believe she's the president of the city council. We find out her name is Melinda, and he is basically putting her in as the new mayor of Bloodhaven. Apparently there's no vice mayor. Okay, whatever. I don't know the politics or the way that their line of succession works in Bloodhaven. She's going to be the new mayor, and then we find out her last name is Zuko. She's related to Tony Zuko, the man that killed Dick Grayson's parents. At the end, she arrives, what I believe it must be her penthouse or some type of luxury apartment. There's a character, this bald woman that's sitting in her apartment. I'm imagining, they did not clarify this yet, but based on current trends in comic books, this is likely her girlfriend. And it turns out she has got Dick Grayson in her sights. There's a Flying Grayson's poster. She's got Dick Grayson circled, and she knows that she needs to take him down when he's not ready for it, because he does not know that she's Tony Zuko's daughter, and he certainly doesn't know that she's the new mayor. So it is her quest. She's going to take out Dick Grayson, Nightwing. I think this is a really good setting up of the villains. We've got the big bad villain. You know, the big boss is Blockbuster, and then we've kind of got he's puppeting this character that's related to the man that killed Dick Grayson's parents. So there's some history there. There's a lot of stakes, and it certainly is going to get personal for Dick Grayson as well as the Zukos. I think this is really well done as far as establishing who the villains are and how powerful they are. And that is my review of Nightwing, 4.5-star comic. Almost perfect. There's a lot of great stuff going on here. It's a highly recommend. Is this the best thing that DC's put out in Infinite Frontier so far? Yeah, I will say it is, because as much as I like Urban Legends, and that story by Chip Zdarsky with Red Hood is better than this one. You've got those extra 3 stories on there and an extra, $2 or $3 on the cover price that kind of bring that rating down, because those stories don't live up to that one. So just on a whole, this is the most enjoyable experience I've had reading one of these Infinite Frontier comics. Tom Taylor executes it at a very high level. There's a couple of things that I didn't quite appreciate. He did make Dick Grayson look like a jabron in comparison to Barbara Gordon. I'd say balderdash on that one. He also used it's just annoying language at this point. You hear it so often. It's just, you want to roll your eyes. Like, oh, God, more talk of privilege, more fun. Whatever. But that doesn't seem like a trend that's going away anytime soon. It's shocking just comparing this to what Tom Taylor was able to accomplish. He was able to get closer to Dick Grayson with Alfred. He was able to make Dick Grayson a billionaire. He was able to establish a new relationship with a 3-legged puppy that he saved. He was able to reestablish the relationship between Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson after it was completely ruined in Batgirl 50 by Cecil Castellucci, and create some more normalcy in the life of Dick Grayson and give him a purpose. And he established 2 enormous villains moving forward. When you compare that to what Brian Michael Bendis established in Justice League, that there's an unknown villain named Brutus, who, when he's struck by nth metal, something happens, and he's from the same planet as Naomi. And they need dissent among the Justice League. The little bit that was established in Justice League in comparison to the amount of framework, the bedrock that has been laid for Tom Taylor's Nightwing, just tells you where the two creators are in their careers. One of them's at the top of his game, and one of them is fading into oblivion.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.